Alright, you ninjas. So you want to learn to make movies. Well, first thing you're going to have to do is some pretty dry stuff. We're going to have to get our workflow going. We're going to have to be saving all our work in a very organized way. We're going to be doing most of our work out of the local disk D, which can be found in my computer. If I open that up and create a new folder, alright, by right-clicking, I can create a new folder. Other ways to go about this is go in File, New, Folder. Alright, I'm going to name my folder first name, last name, videography. Alright. And once we got that started, this is going to be titled our class folder. Alright, within your class folder, you are going to be creating project folders. Alright, it's good that we're all on the same level, using the same terminology when we talk in the studio so that we know where all our work is saved. Our first project is going to be called Thirsty, so I'm just going to make a project folder called Thirsty, alright, in my D drive. So once again, we went to my computer, local disk D. Alright, got my first name, last name, videography, that's my class folder, and then my project folder, Thirsty. Alright, once we have those created, we can start working on our projects. We're going to be using software called Adobe Premiere Pro. Alright, that can be found in Programs, Adobe Master Collection CS3, which stands for Creative Suite 3. They are up to CS5 right now. It's spring 2011. They'll probably be coming out with a new one soon, but you could probably spend your whole life working on CS3 and never even use all the tools within it. So within CS3, we're going to start a new Premiere Pro project. This is our video editing software. I'm going to hit New Project. Some really key elements are going to be on this page right here. We got a little new project window pop up. First thing we need to know is, are we working widescreen or standard? Alright, if you're working on TV announcements, you're going to be using standard because your audience is going to be viewing your material on standard screens, which are around the school. Now, if you're in videography and you're shooting in widescreen, you're obviously going to be choosing widescreen. The 32 and 48 HZs is for your audio. I always use 48. For this first project, for Thirsty, we're going to be using widescreen. So I'm going to highlight widescreen. Alright, next very important thing that we're going to do is hit this Browse button. So we get our Browse window. And we want to be saving this project, obviously, in our project folder. So we go to my computer, local disk D. Alright, go down to first name, last name, videography. Alright, class folder, obviously project folder, Thirsty, and select OK. That way, when we save our work, it is always going to go into that project folder. I'm going to give it a name here. Thirsty works just fine, and hit OK. All the steps that we just did in the last couple minutes are extremely important in not losing work. About every quarter I get a student crying because work was lost, and that can all be avoided by following those steps that we just did that last minute. So you could say that you've already done the most important part of this class by just doing those first couple things. We got our Premiere Pro workspace right here. We're going to revisit this once we get some material to put into here. So I'm going to minimize this window. Alright. I'm going to go to Class Pickup. Okay. I'm going to go down to Hill. And I'm going to go Videography. Within Videography, I'm going to find a folder called Thirsty. Alright. Right here I have a whole bunch of files of video that has already been shot by Mr. Hill that we're going to be using. Well, we want all of this material selected. Alright, we can highlight all that. And we're going to put that into our project folder. Alright. Alright, so we're going to go to our class folder, project folder, and we're going to drag and drop all of our material into our project folder. This is all coming off the server, so if the whole class is doing this at once, it will take some time, and you may want to do that ahead of time. Excuse me. As those files are transferring over to our project folder, we're going to get acquainted with our workspace. Our top left, this will be our clipboard. Okay, we're going to import all of our material into this area, whether that be music, video. When we create new titles, they will go into the clipboard. To the right, we have our source window, our effects window, and our audio mixer will all be right here. To the right of that, I have what I call my canvas. This is where your project is going to be shown. Alright, this is directly linked up to the panel below it called the timeline, or your sequence. Alright, whatever happens down here in our timeline will be visually represented up on our canvas in the top right. Important things about our timeline, this is where a lot of our work is going to be going on. We have our playhead, indicated by our red line. It's got a little blue cap there. We have different video tracks, okay, and different audio tracks. Adobe Premiere Pro can work up to 99 different tracks. You will be using multiple tracks in this class, but probably no more than 10. But you do have the option of using 99 different audio and video tracks. We will be working with this space a lot as we move on. Down in your bottom right, you're going to have your toolbox. We use the selection tool, which is our arrow. We also use the right select tool and our razor tool. If you put your arrow over any of these tools, it will tell you what they are, what they represent, in case you forget. Those are the three tools I use the most: selection tool, right select, and razor tool. On the bottom left, you're going to have a couple panels: an info panel, which we don't use often, effects, which you will be using most often, and your history. Under the effects, you will be using audio transitions, crossfades. I always use the red box, constant power. That is to fade our audio in and out, so things can get gradually louder or gradually softer. Under the video effects, we have a ton of different options. You'll be exploring these when we explore video effects and sound effects with stop motion. I've searched through these, I've used a lot of them, but have not used all of them to their full potential in the 2 years I've been using CS3, so you will have some fun with those. Under video transitions, alright, the most common one will be dissolve, cross dissolve, also indicated with a red box. This is going to fade our video in and fade our video out, which you will see later on. Now that you're acquainted with our workspace, we're going to actually start working with it. One really important thing about your workspace is if something goes crazy and we hit some wrong buttons, and the next thing you know, your workspace looks something like this, and it's really freaked out. You can always go up to Window, Workspace, Reset Current Workspace. Alright, I am sure. And once I hit that, it's going to take our workspace back into its original settings. So, if you ever find yourself without a timeline down here, it's because you've deleted your sequence. You can always add a new sequence by going File, New Sequence. Alright, and I stick with all the defaults. That gives us 3 tracks. We can always add more tracks by right-clicking on a track and hitting Add Tracks. Hit OK, and now we have 4 tracks. Hopefully that got you familiar with what we're going to be dealing with. Don't be scared of this workspace. You will be spending plenty of time on it and become really familiar with it. I know there's a lot going on in front of you. There's a lot of little buttons, but you will be just fine as long as you stick with these tutorials and are keeping up with the class. Alright, we'll catch you in just a moment.